Britain does not own a single self-propelled gun. Not one. The country that fielded more artillery than any other European NATO member for 3 decades gave every howitzer it had to Ukraine, then picked up the phone and asked Sweden if it could borrow 14 second-hand trucks with guns bolted to them. Not tanks. Not armoured fighting vehicles. Trucks. Specifically, modified Volvo construction haulers, the same 6-wheeled articulated chassis used on building sites across Scandinavia, fitted with a 155mm cannon and a fully automated loading system that no crew member ever has to touch. 33 tons of diesel engine, hydraulic suspension, and dump truck DNA carrying a gun that can land a shell 40 kilometers away. 3 soldiers sit inside a sealed armoured cab. They press a button, the gun fires, they drive away. The entire sequence, from standing still to firing to moving again, takes less than 30 seconds. This is the Archer FH77 BW L52. It was designed by BAE Systems Bofors in Sweden. It rides on a Volvo A30D chassis. It has fought in Ukraine, destroyed Russian artillery with drone-confirmed precision, and as of November 2025, it is the only self-propelled gun the British Army operates, 14 of them borrowed. From a country that only joined NATO in 2024, to understand how a Volvo truck became Britain's entire artillery capability, you need to understand what Britain gave away and why it could never get it back. The AS90 was Britain's tracked self-propelled howitzer for over 30 years. Developed by Vickers Shipbuilding and Engineering as a private venture in the late 1980s, it entered service in 1992 and equipped 6 field regiments of the Royal Artillery. 179 were built between 1992 and 1995 for roughly £300 million. It carried a 155mm gun with a barrel length of 39 calibers, giving it a maximum range of about 25 kilometers, with standard ammunition, and roughly 30 with extended range rounds. It weighed 45 tons, moved at 55 kilometers per hour on roads, and required a crew of 5. The AS90 served in Bosnia, in Kosovo, and in the 2003 invasion of Iraq, where it fired in support of British operations around Basra. General Brims praised its accuracy, and the fleet reportedly maintained a 92% availability rate during combat operations. But by the 2010s, the platform was aging badly. Its electronics were a generation behind. Its 39 caliber barrel was outranged by virtually every modern competitor running 52 caliber guns. A planned upgrade called Braveheart, which would have extended the barrel to 52 calibers, was cancelled after propellant charge problems made it unviable. The AS90 was becoming a liability. Then Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022 and everything accelerated. The largest ground war in Europe since 1945 demanded artillery on a scale no Western military had planned for. Ukraine was burning through ammunition faster than NATO could produce it. Every howitzer mattered. Every gun that could be sent was a gun that might hold a defensive line, break up a Russian assault, or suppress a crossing point on the Dnipro, and Britain had nearly 100 self-propelled howitzers sitting in storage and training regiments that were not going to deploy. The political decision came fast. On January 14, 2023, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced that Britain would send AS90s to Ukraine alongside 14 Challenger 2 tanks. The first tranche was 30 to 32 howitzers. A second tranche followed in April 2024, a third in September 2024. The transfers were not token gestures. They were wholesale divestment. By November 2025, a Ministry of Defence Freedom of Information response confirmed the final number. 99 AS90s had been transferred to Ukraine. Every single one Britain had declared in the 2021 United Nations Register of Conventional Arms was gone. Alongside them went 28 M109 howitzers and 54 L119 light guns. The British Army no longer operated a single tracked self-propelled gun. The gap this created was not theoretical. It was total. Britain had given away its entire medium-weight indirect fire capability in less than 2 years, and the long-term replacement, a program called Mobile Fire's platform, was still years from delivering a single vehicle. Someone had to fill the gap immediately. That someone was Sweden. On March 16, 2023, Defence Equipment and Support announced that Britain had purchased 14 Archer artillery systems from Sweden in a government-to-government deal negotiated in just 8 weeks. Colonel Stu Nasi, head of military capability delivery, described it as the fastest procurement in recent British Army history. The first system arrived in October 2023. The 14-gun fleet was fully accepted by mid-2024. They were assigned to 1st Regiment Royal Horse Artillery at Larkhill. Before covering where this vehicle actually fought, and why its combat record in Ukraine rewrote what NATO expects from artillery. If you are enjoying this deep dive into military history, hit subscribe. It takes a second and it helps the channel grow. The Archer exists because Sweden asked a question in the mid-1990s that no other country was willing to ask. What if you did not need a crew standing next to the gun at all? Sweden's Cold War artillery was built around the towed FH77 Howitzer, a capable gun but one that required a full crew exposed in the open to load, aim and fire. More than 700 FH77s had been built and exported to Sweden, India and Nigeria. They worked, but they were slow to set up, slow to displace, and the crews were vulnerable to counter-battery fire. Sweden also operated a handful of tracked Bandkanon 1 self-propelled guns, enormous Cold War machines that were fast but expensive and reaching the end of their service lives. In 1995, Bofors began studies for a fully automated howitzer that could fire, relocate and survive without a single crew member ever leaving the vehicle. The initial concept was radical: mount the proven FH77 gun system on a wheeled chassis, automate the entire loading and firing sequence, and reduce the crew to 3 soldiers sealed inside a protected cab. The gun would do everything itself. No loader standing behind the breech, no ammunition handler passing shells in the rain, no crew exposed to shrapnel, to drone fragments, to counter-battery splinters, every person inside, every function automated. The chassis they chose seemed like a joke. The Volvo A30D, a 6-wheeled articulated hauler designed for construction and mining. It was rugged, mass-produced, cheap to maintain, and already proven in Scandinavian conditions, including deep snow up to 1 meter. Its articulated steering gave it off-road maneuverability that most conventional military trucks could not match. The idea of mounting a 155mm cannon on a civilian dump truck seemed absurd. It turned out to be the single smartest engineering decision in modern artillery design. In 2003, the Swedish Defence Procurement Agency, a FMV, awarded Bofors, by then part of BAE Systems, a contract to build 2 demonstrators. Prototypes fired in 2005 and 2006. Norway joined the program in 2008, signing a cooperative development agreement for 48 systems, 24 for each country. Kongsberg supplied the remote weapon station, and both nations funded the Odin artillery command and control system. But technical delays pushed the planned 2011 service entry back repeatedly. The automated loading system that was supposed to make Archer revolutionary was also the source of its most persistent development problems. Cycling rounds reliably in sub-zero temperatures, managing recoil forces on a wheeled chassis, and integrating the fire control computer with the gun and the vehicle simultaneously proved far harder than the original timeline assumed. Norway lost patience. In December 2013, citing non-performance to contract deadlines, Norway withdrew entirely from the program and later signed a contract in December 2017 for the South Korean tracked K9 Thunder instead. The Archer program lost half its funding base and half its planned production run overnight. Sweden pressed on alone. 4 pre-serial Archers were delivered on September 23, 2013. The system formally entered Swedish Army service on February 1, 2016, with the 9th Artillery Regiment at Boden, nearly 5 years behind schedule. 48 systems were eventually built under the original production run. 24 entered Swedish service. 14 would later be sold to Britain, 8 would be donated to Ukraine. The rest were held in reserve or used for training and trials. The specifications justified the weight. The Archer carries 20 to 21 ready rounds in a fully automated magazine. It fires a burst of 3 rounds in 15 seconds. It can empty its entire magazine in approximately 2.5 minutes. It achieves a maximum burst rate of 8 to 9 rounds per minute. Its multiple rounds simultaneous impact capability allows up to 6 shells to land on the same target at the same time, fired at different trajectories and timed to converge. With standard ammunition, range reaches 40 kilometers, with base bleed rounds further. With the GPS-guided M982 Excalibur precision munition, range exceeds 50 kilometers, but the specification that changed everything is not range or rate of fire. It is time. The Archer can stop, deploy its gun, fire, stow the gun, and be moving again in under 30 seconds. Some BAE Systems documentation claims under 20 seconds. In an era where counter-battery radar can locate a firing position within seconds, and drones can strike within minutes, that 30-second window is the difference between survival and destruction. Every other self-propelled howitzer in NATO inventory takes longer. The German PZH-2000, the French Caesar, the British AAS-90, all of them require more time to fire and displace. The Archer was designed from the start to shoot and vanish. The vehicle also carries a roof-mounted remote weapon station with a 7.62mm or 12.7mm machine gun for close defence. The cab is armoured against 7.62mm armour-piercing rounds and can survive a 6kg mine blast under any wheel. The crew of 3, a gun commander, a gun operator and a driver, never leave the cab during firing operations. In theory, a single operator can run the entire system alone. Ukraine proved that none of this was theoretical. Sweden donated 8 Archers to Ukraine, delivered to the 45th Separate Artillery Brigade by November 2023. The Ukrainian systems were fitted with Barracuda camouflage netting and had their remote machine gun stations removed. In March 2024, near Kreminna in the Luhansk region, the 45th Artillery Brigade received targeting coordinates from aerial reconnaissance, operated by the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. 3 Russian D-20 towed howitzers had been identified in a firing position. The Archer crew drove to a pre-surveyed point, halted, deployed the gun, and fired. Drone footage confirmed all 3 D-20s destroyed in a single counter-battery mission. The Archer was moving again before any Russian response could be coordinated. 2 months later, in May 2024, near the village of Chervonopopivka in Luhansk, an Archer from the same brigade destroyed a Russian Tu-S-19 Msta-S self-propelled howitzer. The Msta-S is a 42-ton tracked vehicle with a crew of 5. It was killed by a 33-ton truck with a crew of 3. Again, drone footage confirmed the strike. Ukrainian operators who had previously crewed Soviet-era D-20 towed howitzers described the transition to Archer in blunt terms. One operator featured in a January 2024 United 24 documentary called it sniper artillery. The precision of the automated system, combined with the speed of the shoot-and-scoot cycle, meant that Archer crews were not area-suppressing targets. They were picking off individual enemy guns with single rounds and disappearing. For soldiers who had spent months loading towed howitzers by hand in freezing mud, exposed to FPV drones and cluster munitions, climbing into a heated armoured cab and pressing a button felt like stepping into a different war entirely. Ukrainian tactics evolved specifically around the Archer's strengths. Crews treated it as a raiding weapon. They would receive coordinates from a drone team, drive to a pre-surveyed firing point along a concealed route, halt for less than half a minute, fire 1 to 3 precision rounds, and displace before Russian counter-battery radar could compute a firing solution. The entire engagement window was shorter than the flight time of most Russian counter-battery shells. By the time a response landed on the firing position, the Archer was already a kilometre away, moving down a forest track or disappearing behind a tree line. The system was not invulnerable. In February 2024, a Russian loitering munition struck an Archer near Kupiansk. Russian sources claimed the vehicle was destroyed. Ukrainian sources assessed the damage as repairable. The incident highlighted the evolving threat from cheap autonomous weapons, but it also demonstrated that even on a battlefield saturated with drones, the Archer's rapid displacement kept losses far below what slower platforms suffered. By 2025, Sweden had committed to raising Ukraine's total Archer inventory to 44 systems across multiple tranches. By January 2026, the Swedish Ministry of Defence reported that 26 of the 44 had been delivered, along with replacement barrels worn down by intensive firing. Compared to other Western artillery systems donated to Ukraine, the Archer occupies a distinct niche. The American-supplied M777 is a towed howitzer. It is accurate and reliable, but requires a full crew exposed in the open and takes minutes to set up and displace. Ukrainian M777 crews have suffered significant casualties from counter-battery fire and drone strikes. The German PZH-2000 carries 60 rounds on board and delivers devastating sustained fire, but it is heavy, complex, and has suffered chronic barrel wear from Ukrainian firing rates that exceed its designed duty cycle. The French Caesar is light and highly mobile on wheels, but its crew must partially dismount to assist loading, and it carries only 18 rounds. The Polish Crab uses an AS-90 Braveheart turret on a K9 chassis, combining 2 systems neither country designed to work together. The Archer does one thing better than all of them. It gets in, fires, and gets out faster than anything else on the battlefield. In a war defined by drones, loitering munitions, and counter-battery radar, that speed is not a convenience. It is the primary survival mechanism. Against the AS-90 it replaced in British service, the comparison is even starker. The S-90 fired fewer rounds per minute, carried a shorter range 39 caliber barrel, required 5 crew members exposed to counter-battery fire during loading, and displaced far more slowly. It weighed 12 tons more. It burned more fuel, It needed tracked vehicle maintenance infrastructure that the British Army was already struggling to sustain. It was a 1980s platform fighting a 2020s war. Every lesson from Ukraine confirms that the era of heavy, slow-displacing tracked artillery is ending. The vehicles that survive are the ones that move fastest. The ones that die are the ones that stay still. The irony is that Britain had the chance to buy Archer permanently. When the Mobile Fires platform competition opened, BAE Systems offered Archer on the newer Rheinmetall MAN HX2 8x8 chassis, partnered with Babcock and Rheinmetall UK. The system was already in British service. Soldiers already knew how to operate it. Logistics chains already existed. The ammunition was already stockpiled. It was the lowest risk option on the table. Britain chose something else entirely. The long-term replacement for the AS-90 is the RCH 155, a remotely operated 155mm gun module mounted on the Boxer 8x8 armoured vehicle chassis, already entering British service as the mechanised infantry vehicle. In April 2024, following a bilateral defence agreement between Britain and Germany, the Ministry of Defence selected the RCH 155 over competing bids from the Archer on a new HX2 chassis, the French Caesar, the South Korean K9, and others. In May 2026, the MOD announced a contract valued at nearly £1 billion for 72 RCH 155 systems, with first deliveries expected in 2028. Until those vehicles arrive, the 14 borrowed Archers at Larkhill are everything Britain has. 14 Volvo trucks standing between the Royal Artillery and a capability gap that no training exercise, no war game, and no planning assumption ever anticipated. Sweden, meanwhile, is not standing still. In September 2023, Sweden ordered 48 new-build Archers on a Rheinmetall MAN HX2 8x8 chassis, tripling its fielded force. The first HX2 unit was delivered to FMV on April 21, 2026. Latvia gave conceptual approval in January 2026 for 18 Archers on the same chassis. Sweden joined NATO in March 2024, and Archer is now central to the alliance's long-range fires capability on the Baltic flank and the High North. The Archer was never elegant. It was never glamorous. It rides on a construction site chassis that civilian hauler drivers would recognise immediately. Its cab looks like it belongs on a motorway hauling gravel, not on a battlefield trading fire with Russian self-propelled guns. It carries only 20 rounds, a fraction of the 60 rounds a PZH-2000 stores internally. It cannot survive a direct hit from anything heavier than small arms and shell splinters. Its 25-litre gun chamber does not meet the NATO Joint Ballistics Memorandum of Understanding, which means every new ammunition type must be individually tested and certified before it can be fired from the Archer barrel. That is a real logistical limitation for a system now serving 4 different nations with 4 different ammunition supply chains. But it fires further than the gun it replaced. It fires faster than the gun it replaced. It needs 3 soldiers instead of 5. It can be loaded onto a C-17 transport aircraft and flown anywhere on the planet. It can drive on public roads at 70 km per hour without a tank transporter. It can cross snow a metre deep. It can fire and vanish before the enemy knows where the shot came from. In the forests of Luhansk, it killed Russian howitzers that outweighed it by 10 tons. In the fields outside Crimea, it erased 3 enemy guns in a single mission. On the training grounds of Larkhill, it taught British gunners that everything they knew about artillery tempo was obsolete. On the frozen ranges of Boden, it proved that a truck could do what a tank could not. Sweden designed it. Ukraine proved it. Britain, with no other choice, borrowed it. And now 4 more countries are lining up to buy it. Latvia has approved 18. Ukraine's fleet is growing toward 44. Sweden itself is tripling production. The construction site truck with a cannon is becoming the standard against which every new artillery system is measured. Britain gave Ukraine every self-propelled gun it owned. Then it leased 14 Swedish trucks to fill the gap. Those trucks turned out to be the most effective shoot-and-scoot artillery platform on the modern battlefield. A Volvo hauler became the British Army's entire self-propelled howitzer fleet. That is not a procurement failure. That is the moment the world discovered what a truck with a gun can do.